Well, hey everybody, Brian McDonald of On Purpose Growth, and I'm here today with Katrina Keys of Network in Action, and we're going to be talking about networking, especially during a time like now. Katrina, tell me a little bit about yourself and why you're such an authority on networking these days.
Well, good afternoon. Hi, this is Katrina Keys, and I own a Network in Action franchise, actually NIA 5.0. And I guess you could say an authority because networking to me is a long-lasting relationship building situation. And I've been in HR for 20 plus years. I own an HR consulting business also. So I've spent my entire career just really building relationships and connecting with people.
Cool. So what makes networking right now even more important than ever?
You know, it's so important right now because you can't just look at the current situation. When we get out of this pandemic and people are comfortable again getting out and connecting, you want to have already established a lot of relationships. You want to have
Mhm.
already spent some time with some people, and so that they know you and it's not just focused on business or, hey, I want to grow my business or things like that. They're focused on, hey, I know this person. I spent plenty of calls with them. I have virtual coffees with them. So it's so important now that you think about not just this current situation, but past the situation, the growth of yourself and your business.
Oh, I love that because it's the human connection for me that make next networking work. So I love that you explain that. So, what are some misconceptions people have about networking?
That's one of my favorite questions.
Oh,
One of the main misconceptions is that it's about you. It's not about you.
mm,
Networking has nothing to do with you. It is about talking to people, getting to know people, spending time with people. It's not about taking, it's about giving. And I think so often people forget that in a networking situation, you're here to give, you're here to build relationships. So I use an example. I had someone reach out to me on LinkedIn and I was like, great, it was a referral. Their first question was, you know, these kind of people. I don't even know them. So to me, that's not what networking's about. You know, my next question was, I was like, yeah, I know those kind of people that you're looking for. However, when do you have some time to sit down and chat? You know, just 15, 20, 30 minutes. Let's just see if there's a connection. Because in the networking process, it's not about, oh yeah, I do this business, I do that business. It's about a connection. And I think that is the main thing people need to realize. There's a connection. It's not about you. Don't be a taker, be a giver.
I love that because uh, the concept that I used to use is everything that I want, I can get through helping other people get what they want. And the only way to do that is really get to know somebody and give and connect. So that's phenomenal. I love your perspective on that. So what can people do to make networking even more impactful for them right now or in the future?
One of the key things I tell people is focus on building a relationship. So I
Mm.
have people that I've met at networking events. I have one friend I met at a networking event 2 years ago, and we've been friends. We'll go have dinner, we'll hang out. So in order for it to be impactful to you, you have to be fully in, you have to be engaged, you have to be genuine, and you have to be focused. And so often people get in, they're like, they do it halfway. And on top of it, you have to be intentional. You have to be intentional
Oh,
about building those relationships, intentional about connecting with people, following up with people. And sometimes there's a little chasing on your part. If you want to really get to know someone, you may have to chase a little bit, kind of like dating. You know what I'm saying? You know,
mhm.
it's a little give and a take.
Yeah,
Sometimes
it's a give and a take.
sometimes they're like, hey, I'm waiting on her. I'm waiting on him. Hey, if there's something you want, go after it. So I think that's one of the most impactful things is to go after it if you want it. If you want to build those relationships, if you want to get to know people, then you have to, really focus on that.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, just showing up and walking in the room or walking to a coffee isn't going to do much if you don't have an intention, right? I love that you focus on that because really, I'll rephrase that. It's like you actually get out of it what your actual intention is. So if you have a laissez-faire kind of, we're going to go and I'm going to get some introductions and, just kind of loosey-goosey, that's what actually happens. You don't get many results. Is there anything else that you'd like to share based on what we went over that we may have not covered yet?
I think there's another piece that people forget about, giving back. you know, in your network and in your relationship building, something that I make a point to do is connect with nonprofits. I do sit on a board for a nonprofit called Single Mommies Can. And, you know, it's an amazing opportunity for me to give back. I was not a teenage mother. That's the focus of the organization, but it's an opportunity for me to give back. So I think in your networking, instead of just looking out, goes back to what we just said, instead of just looking for people that can give you something, how can you give them something? I met with someone last week, and one of the things they offered was some tools for nonprofits. And I met another gentleman that is doing this whole online event for nonprofits. So I'm thinking of the nonprofits that I'm connected with. I've connected with him with some of them. I've sent some notes to them. And I think that's the other people don't, the other thing people need to not forget about is the give back aspect. Even in the midst of this pandemic, I've done some online volunteering. I've done some connecting. I've set on some things that I wouldn't have set in on, but if there's a give back piece. So as you're reaching out, you build those relationships. Don't skip over those nonprofits. When they're trying to connect with you or whatever, don't say, oh, well, what can I do with them? You never know, because we forget that everyone knows someone. When you're networking, that's one thing I love about Network in Action, is it's not necessarily the people in the room. It's about the people that aren't in the room. So there's an opportunity. You could build a rapport with someone that may not be interested in your business in a sense of doing business with you, but they may be sitting, hanging out with their friends or at dinner or lunch and go, hey, I know somebody that does X, Y, Z, and your name pops in. Why does your name pop into their head? Because they spent time with you, they've gotten to know you, and they realize that you're a good person, and you're not just focused on the dollar, you're focused on the connection and the relationship in the long range.
And that really goes back to the thing we just talked about, intention, right? It's all these things are tied together, and you're intentional about giving back, whether it's a nonprofit or other people. And with that intention, it comes full circle to you, sounds like.
Yes, 100%. You know, I've had people reach out to me and they say, why does your LinkedIn profile say you're a farmer? And like, you know, because I plant seeds and I fertilize them. What does that mean? There was someone that reached out to me and I hadn't seen them in 6-7 years. And they were like, and I found out from talking to them that they had been using an example from 5 or 6 years ago in their closing of deals with their clients. It's something I said, I didn't even know. Oh. So look at there, you know, so that's what I'm trying to say. That's like you said, I'm intentionally positive. I'm intentionally focused on people's success. I do plant seeds. I plant them every single day. I fertilize them, whether it's connecting people, whether it's reaching out, following up with people. You know, I just, you know, helps like 5 people in the past 5 days with unemployment. That's not my thing. I'm an HR person. I understand it, but why did I do that? Because I'm intentional about giving back, impacting them where they are. So often we don't think about that. Where's that person at right now, and how can we impact them where they are at that moment?
That's great. That's great. Well, you're clearly an expert on this. And if anybody wants to reach out and talk about networking or learn about Network in Action, how can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, so it's really pretty simple. My one email is Katrina, Katrina @networkinaction.com. My phone number is 713-678-0468. Or, hey, I'm all about LinkedIn. If you want to reach out on LinkedIn, my phone number is real on LinkedIn. My email address is real. It is my consulting email on LinkedIn. Or you can just send me a message. Say, hey, you know, Katrina, I just want to connect with you. I wanted to chat with you. And let's get on each other's calendar.
That's awesome. And that's one thing that I did. Katrina and I connected. So anybody, and we got on the phone, and she's great. And anybody watching this, if you want to really understand, you know, how to network, reach out to Katrina, connect with her on LinkedIn. And I hope that this video finds the people that it needs to, that kind of need that boost in networking and that extra encouragement, because I know, you know, for me, and I think from talking to you, Katrina, it's done wonders in my life. So I encourage anybody to get in more action and get networking.
100%. Yes.
Cool. Well, thanks for being on and creating this video, Katrina.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate you. And I'm looking forward to what we do in the future together.
Absolutely.